Hey everyone, this is Renier, and today I'll try to analyze a game between Victor Bologan with the white pieces against Ivan Salgado. Okay, Salgado is a very young Spanish grandmaster, and lately, I don't know, probably you haven't seen most of his games, but he has victories over Svidler, Alexeyev, Renier, and many other Russians. And in this game from the Aeroflot Open, he beats Victor Bologan in a very complicated game in the Rosolino variation of the Sicilian. And okay, I saw this game when it was played live with a couple of grandmasters, friend of mine, and we all got a different opinion in the game. And when I analyzed this game a little deeper, I realized that none of us exactly knew what was happening. Okay, so I want to share this game with you, and this is how it goes. e4, let me flip the board. c5, knight f3, knight c6. Obviously Salgado prepares for each game, and he knows Bologan has a preference for bishop b5 in this position. Not only he has played it all his life, but also he's making videos and an upcoming book on this opening now. Okay, g6, bishop takes e6, and now he plays a move that I always suspected to be good. B takes c6. Although theory nowadays they give d takes c6 as the best way to capture with black, and I don't share this view. Castle, bishop g7, rook e1. This is all theory. And now knight h6. The problem, this is the best move. The problem with knight f6 is that after e5, knight d5, c4, knight c7 is the best square. b6 is just useless for the knight. After b3, the knight has no possible return to the center. So knight c7, d4, c takes d4, and queen takes d4, and white has a very easy development with knight c3, queen h4, bishop h6, or even bishop anywhere, just to bring the rook to d1. And yeah, white is slightly more active, and he has a good space advantage too, so it's uncomfortable to play with black that position. But the best move is knight h6, and this development is very interesting. I played this position against Julio Granda and in a tournament in Spain, and even though I had a clear advantage because black misplayed the opening a little bit in some concrete positions, there is no way that white can put a question on this development by black. c3, okay, the most natural, trying to create the pawn center immediately. Castle, and now d4. And this move, I also knew it from long ago, that we're going to see now. This move is queen b6, and I believe that is the most interesting move in the position. The move was first played by Granda. At least I think there is a previous game with this move, but the first time I saw it was played by Granda in Blitz Olympiad in 2002. The whole point is that black doesn't do anything. Queen b6 is useful because he defends the c5 pawn in case that black is not in a hurry to take on d4. He can delay this, and as he can always capture on c5 with the queen. And also white cannot develop his bishop from c1. The knight, he can play knight d2, but the knight is not usually going to d2 in these lines. It's not the same as, for example, taking on d4 takes, which is also acceptable but less problematic for white in my view. After knight c3, f6, h3, knight f7, b3, white can even either arrange his pieces with queen c2, bishop e3, or bishop b2, rook c1. Either way, looks less problematic to develop with white in this position, but queen b6 already forces white to do something, to wait, to make useful waiting moves. Okay, Bologan played h3. Yes, nothing wrong with this move. In the previous game that I mentioned, white played d5. The player is an international master. I don't remember his first name. I know him, but his last name is Bologan. I think he's from Zurich, maybe, or I don't remember very well. Okay, he played d5, and d5 is not a good move at all, because after d6 the game turns to be some sort of a queen's pawn position type, like Benko Gambit, something like that structure. After knight a3, bishop b7, knight c4, queen a6, rook e8, and black was ready to react in the center. After knight g5, c takes d5, knight takes on d5, queen c6, already with ideas of f5, but the truth is, like here, queen c8, thinking about knight g4, also with queen c8 controlling e6, so black can play f6 and kick the knight out of g5, queen d3, f6, knight f3, and now with knight g4 followed by knight e5 and e6, black would have a large advantage. Bologan Granda played differently and won the game. His position is very good, so there are many ways to play, but probably that one was the best. Okay, back to the game. Bologan played h3 and now f6. Other way to play could be d6, as Ivanchuk played against Spidler in last year in France. Then after queen c2, a5, you can see that black never releases the tension in the center, and this is uncomfortable for white. If the move queen c2, yeah, usually is done later, but in this position perhaps it gives black an extra range of choices. After bishop e3, c takes d4, c takes d4. Now he's not forced to play f6 at all. Instead, Ivanchuk played f5, which very active play, and queen d2 attacking the knight, knight f7, e5 doesn't really matter. After queen b4, knight c3, d takes on e5, d takes. White doesn't have any advantage here. Knight on f7 is strong, not only putting pressure on e5 but also controlling g5, so he can place his bishop on e6, rook d8, queen e2, and now bishop e6. The game was a draw in 32 moves, but in this position probably black is already slightly better. His bad pawn structure is compensated by the activity of his pieces. That's it. There is bishop c4 ideas, and yeah, white doesn't have access to the squares where he has to the weakest square that black has. For example, c5, or pretty much an acceptable position for black. Alright, so in this game Salgado played f6. Now knight bd2, c takes d4, c takes, bishop a6, not moving the d7 pawn yet. Knight b3, knight c5 is a threat, so now d6, bishop d2, and knight f7, bringing the knight to the center. In the end, the structure that can arise from this development has some similarities with the King's Indian, for example. After now knight a5, first new move of the game. Previously we had seen rook c1, rook c8, knight a5, and now c5, as played by Etienne Bacrot against Akopian in 2008 in Lista. After d takes on c5, d takes on c5. Pawn structure on the queen side is worse for black, but there is no real way to take an advantage of this. After b3, knight d6, you can see that black is controlling c4, so white doesn't have time enough to create a blockade and play knight c4 for free. Then after he takes, rook d8, bishop b7, that light square bishop is very, very strong. Queen c6, putting pressure on e4, bishop c3, and now e5. The position is about equal, perhaps just a minimum advantage to black because of the light square bishop that I think is very strong, and also that these pawns are targets c4 and e4. Okay, but the game also was a draw later. Neither side could break the defense. Okay, in the game Bologan played same idea but little faster. Knight a5 immediately, not playing rook c1, and his idea will be clear in the next move. After e5, okay, also interesting idea. I guess black can try rook e3, but Bologan's idea is to play rook e3 and then rook b3, immediately attacking the black queen. So e5 is, I guess, the proper reaction, and then rook e3. If d takes on e5, after d takes, queen c2, c5, knight c4, queen e6, b3, rook b8, and now rook d8, the position is roughly equal. I mean, white has achieved the knight on c4, but the truth is that the knight is also blocking the bishop from ideas like bishop d3, and also c5 will be easily defended by bishop f8 on in the next move. So black doesn't have real weaknesses. He has c5 and a7, yes, bad pawn structure, but there is no way that white can put enough pressure on these pawns. And he has enough counterplay. The knight on f7 defends very well. The queen on e6 is excellently placed, and in general all of his pieces are doing something and very well coordinated, so there is no advantage there. Okay, after rook e3, rook c8, rook b3, queen returns to d8, and you have to see that there isn't much going on the queen side now. After rook c1, black went c5, forcing white to make a decision in the center. And now Bologan plays d5, and this reminds me of my game with Granda, in which a similar position took place. And then in that game I realized that I was playing a King's Indian with a very good version of a King's Indian for black here, as white is missing some important pieces, for example the light square bishop, and also there is not much attack on the queen side, difficult to create counterplay. I wouldn't have played d5 in this position probably, as I don't like that structure for white. The best would have been here d takes on e5, renouncing any advantage, but keeping it safe. Of course, not in Bologan's style. Best move would have been f takes on e5. After d takes on e5, things are a little different. Look at the queen on d8 is not as active as on e6, and after knight c4, queen d7, trying to arrange the pieces there. Rook a3 forces bishop takes on c4, and the story then is very different, because rook takes on c4, rook d8, queen c2. Here white is putting pressure on the pawns. Knight d6. Well, queen c2 is probably not the best move, but I guess maybe queen e2 or move the rook a4 immediately, because here black arrives with knight b5 very quickly, defending a7, attacking the rook on a3, and also knight d4 coming in. So probably white should make a different move here. I guess maybe rook a4 immediately. Okay, and if knight takes on e5, after knight takes, d takes on e5, rook a3, white has a good version of this position as well. He's threatening knight b3, attacking the bishop on a6, attacking the pawn on c5. So after c4, bishop b4, queen takes e1, rook takes, rook f7, bishop, rook c3. The position is a little better for white as well. Pawn on c4 is a target, and black is not as active as he should be. Rook d6 is coming in soon too. But the best would have been f takes on e5, and here you can see the typical position that black is aiming for. The knight on f7 is as strong as it defends the backward pawn d6, and there is no way to eliminate the knight from f7. Rook a3, queen d7, bishop e3, queen e6, controlling the light squares, and black has a good counterplay. One of the ideas could be rook f d8 and d5, opening the position for the bishops. Okay, the game is complicated at this point, but black is probably not worse. Okay, in the game, Bologan played d5, queen d7, knight c6, and now bishop b7. Very good move. Immediately taking care of the knight on c6, and after knight a7, if knight a5, bishop a8. This was black's idea, and black is pushing f5, creating a strong counterplay on the king side. So knight takes on a7, rook a8, knight b5. Of course, knight c6 doesn't bring anything. Black's structure is very solid, and white has problems to defend a2 and e4 at the same time. So knight b5, probably Bologan was counting on this, and here white has black has good play with f5 in this position. Instead, Salgado, who calculates very well, I must say, all of his games, you can see a good calculation, and he always enters in complications, and he plays rook takes on a2, not fearing knight a3. The rook is trapped, but yes, it's trapped, but it's there. It's putting pressure on b2. The rook is in the 7th rank, and until white don't play queen b1, the rook is alive. So I guess black shouldn't be afraid, but now he must create active counterplay, and that's what he does. He plays f5, queen c2, and now very strong move, bishop a8, because the bishop in many lines is exposed by the rook on b3, and the idea is to meet queen b1 with f takes on e4, and if queen takes on a2, bishop takes on d5, of course, winning, because the rook on b3 is pinned, also the knight on f3 is under attack, and the threat is queen a4, for example, one of them. And if e takes on f5, after bishop takes on d5, f takes on g6, h takes, black is probably better. So Bologan played knight h2, f takes on e4, queen takes on e4, and now again here queen b1 is useless, as probably bishop takes d5, yeah. And is it bishop takes d5? Yeah, bishop takes d5, I think. Because if queen takes on a2, queen a4, that's correct. So queen takes on e4, knight a6 played with the intention of knight f5 and knight d4. Also possible was knight d8, trying to queen f7, attacking d5 and f2 at the same time. But again, after knight g4, queen f7, rook d3, white is defending everything. Black cannot take on b2 because of knight c4 and knight takes on d6. So queen f5 and f3. This is a very nice resource, because if black plays the queens, the pawn on d5 now becomes strong, and black shouldn't trade the queens here because then he doesn't have any active play. So knight f7, knight c4, bishop b7 with the idea of bishop a6 was possible. With a very complicated game, neither side should trade queens. Either exchange would improve the opponent's pawn structure. So, but I think black has slightly better chances in this position. Bishop a6, rook b8 with very active play on the queen side. So knight a6, bishop takes on a6, natural, eliminating the improving knight. So bishop takes, rook d1, defending d5, and now queen a7. Very nice move with an eye on f2, but also on the a file. Queen a7, knight g4. The alternative to queen a7 weren't so important. For example, queen f7, knight g4, bishop g7, rook f3. Attacking the queen forces a move like queen b7, rook takes, king takes, and now queen f3 check. King g8, knight f6, bishop takes, queen takes, and it's just queen b3, and I think white has a draw here with queen d8, for example, or even queen e6. Yeah, queen e6 should be a draw. I must say not queen takes on b2, because after knight c4 white is winning, because d6 falls. Okay, so queen f7 wasn't good because of knight g4 followed by rook f3. So Salgado played queen a7, knight g4, and now bishop g5. Again, the best move, keeping an eye on e3. If bishop g7 after queen b1, queen a4, this is one of the ideas. It's actually a brilliant idea, because if queen takes on a2 after c4, the rook on b3 is pinned to the other rook on d1 and cannot move and defend at the same time, and the knight from a3 cannot take the pawn on c4 because of the queen on a2. So this is the great idea of queen a7, to go queen a4 and c4, and the rook on a2 can never be captured. So it's very creative, it's very impressive. Rook b6, e4, freeing the bishop from g7, and now knight e3. In this case, white succeeds defending everything, and black may be in trouble because of the rook on d1 now is defended by the knight, and yeah, black cannot create any more threats. So bishop g5 is better. Now if we compare queen b1, queen a4, rook b6, now he has bishop d8 now, removing the rook from b6. After rook takes on d6, rook takes on b2, the rook on d1 is hanging, rook takes d6, pawn takes, queen takes, and perpetual check. Black can try king h8, and white still can hold the draw by queen c1. The threat is queen a6, and black should take on g6. After this is a draw. Okay, interesting lines, and perhaps, yeah, very very complicated, I think. h4. Okay, h4, trying to deviate the bishop from this square. The bishop cannot take on h4 because of knight h6, and then queen takes on h4. Rook f4, and now queen e2. This is practically the critical moment in this middle game where things are being decided. White had the chance to go queen b1, and after c4, rook h3, defending the pawn on h4, and now if queen a4, he can simply take rook takes d4, king h2, very difficult move to find, c3, rook takes on c3, and after bishop b7, queen c2, queen takes, rook takes g5, knight b5, rook h5. Knight takes on d6. The game should be about level here. Okay, you can see that you cannot take on d5 because rook a1 is made, but white can take on d6. It's complex endgame, but probably white is safe. I think queen b1 is more to the point in this position. And in case of bishop takes on h4, white can take the rook, and after rook takes on g4, rook f3, defending f2. Also, it's difficult for black if he cannot bring the bishop from aa into play, so he should try rook d4 here, rook takes, e takes d4, and the pawn on b7 is weak. I mean the pawn on d5. This is what I meant. Maybe some ideas like queen b7, but okay, all of this difficult to win. I think very difficult. Black has compensation, but I'm not sure that it's enough to win. Bishop b7, queen b3, bishop a6 is still possible with the complicated game. You can see the knight on a3 out of play, threats bishop e2, but okay, white should have a defense there. Bologan played queen e2, obviously defending the knight on g4, and now bishop d8. If bishop e7, h5 could be the answer. Bishop d8, and now probably white should have played h5, trying to create weaknesses to open up the black king, and and to keep it as a source of counterplay. Then after rook d4, knight e3, everything is defended. The queen is going to the king's side eventually, either by taking on g6 and queen c2, for example, that kind of things, or if the rook from d4 is removed, then queen g4. I must say, g takes on h5 is never possible. After knight a6, king h8, rook g3, there is a very strong threat on g8. So g3, move played by Victor Bologan, and now rook d4. Now this move was very good, and now, yeah, because there are some threats, queen a4 for example, and the knight on g4 is under attack. Also, the pawn on d5 is the main threat now. Bishop takes d5. That's what white is supposed to defend. And here, amazingly, Bologan missed knight e3, and then after king g7, we have a kind of position that is difficult for white to improve. Black has some ideas to keep putting pressure on the pawn on d5, queen f7, stuff like this, queen a4 perhaps, and I don't know, it's difficult to see what white plays in this position, but in the meantime he has everything defended. It's black who has to prove something. But in this game, Bologan makes the final mistake here immediately. Rook takes d4. This trade, believe it or not, ends the game. After c takes d4, the position is losing. Knight from g4 has no future. The knight on a3 completely out of the battle. The rook on a2 proves to be very useful now, putting pressure on b2 and on a1 as well. The d5 pawn will fall, and white cannot do anything about it. If queen f3 now, king g7, h5, rook a1, king h2, and now queen f7, forcing the trade of queens or the loss of the d5 pawn. h6, king g8, queen f7, king takes. If rook b8, black has bishop takes d5, and the bishop on e7 on d8 cannot be taken because of rook h1 mate. So rook b5, defending the d5 pawn, and now rook c1, keeping the knight out on a3, and after b3, king e7, knight c4, e4, with the idea of rook a1, rook a2, and e3, of course. Just push the pawns. The rook from b5, you can see, cannot move because bishop takes d5. very little that white can do here, very little. So okay, Bologan didn't find anything better than queen b5 with an eye on e8, looking for checks. King g7, knight c2, no choice. Queen e8 is not good. After rook a1, king h2, bishop takes d5, white can resign. So knight c2 was played, controlling a1, but now rook a5, and after rook a3, only move, otherwise bishop takes d5, rook takes b5, rook a7, bishop b7, excellently played by black. The rook on a7 doesn't have any future. There are ideas, bishop c7, bishop b8, and the rook has to go, and the d5 pawn is doomed to be taken. So to knight a3, rook takes on b2, knight c4, check, and bishop c7, defending d6, threatening bishop b8. Bologan played f3, bishop b8, rook a5, rook b4, and knight a3. Okay, the knight makes a very sad picture of white's position. After d3, it has no return at all to the center, and knight f2, d2, knight c2, rook b3, stopping knight e3, and after g4, king f8. And here white resigns. Yeah, one of the ideas is just to bring the king back to d8, bishop c7, bishop takes d5. Basically, white can't do anything, cannot move any knight. The rook cannot move it, otherwise he loses d5. He can only play with the king, and that's not improving at all. So also, if king g3, e4, maybe even winning, the knight cannot take it, the pawn cannot take it. So it's a very good game played by Salgado. Okay, what I meant here that when we were watching the game, we didn't see what's going on, is that we believe that that black always had some advantage, but yeah, there was a starting point there when I think the critical moment is when, of course, black was never worse and never in danger, but white could have saved his game with queen b1 in this position. Probably queen e2 is too optimistic, too still trying for the win at all cost, and with queen b1 probably with an eye on g6. Also, you learn, because queen e2 looks natural, but queen b1 with an eye on the king side, because after c4, rook h3, queen a4 takes, rook takes g4, and now queen c2. Yeah, saving the game. Looks like the best way. And then also there was when he played h4, rook f4, queen e2, bishop d8, that probably white should have played h5 and meet rook d4 with knight e3, and the game is complicated. And I think that for the weakness on g6, white can create some counterplay, and perhaps, yeah, difficult to foresee from here what can happen, but position remains with chances for both sides. Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this game. Learn more about this player, this grandmaster, who has, like I said before, Alexeyev, Svidler, many other Russians, Niger, and don't remember who else, but there were others strong grandmasters. And now Bologan. Yeah. Okay, as usual, leave questions, comments on the forum, and I will be responding them. Thanks for watching. This is Renier, and bye bye.